This is a recording of this year's Virtual Residency Fair. We'd like to take the time to thank the programs that volunteered their time to present to this year's applicants. This year's PM&R Scholars Virtual Residency Fair is supported by PM&R Recap and Ultrasound Guidance. PM&R Recap is the leading resource for your physiatry board preparation, clinical preparation, audition rotations, and beyond. PM&R Recap offers 35 hours of review videos, hundreds of review questions, and oral board cases to help you become the best physiatrist that you can be. Head to pmnrrecap.com to learn more. Ultrasound Guidance is the innovative new online ultrasound learning platform that gives you instant access to expert instruction. With rapid scans and complete scans of every joint and peripheral nerve, Ultrasound Guidance is the perfect way to jumpstart your MSK ultrasound learning. Visit ultrasoundguidance.com to learn more.
We looking okay?
Yep, looks good.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Cook. I'm a PGY3 at U of M. So we'd love to just talk to you a little bit about our program today. And we're actually going to start off with a little blurb from our program director. So I'll let Dr. Hearn take a chance. Go for it.
Hi, everyone. Sandra Hearn. I'm Residency Program Director at University of Michigan, also known as Michigan Medicine. Great to have you all with us tonight. Special shout out to our three residents, Dr. Alyssa Cook, Dr. Jim Devaney, and Dr. Sheris Steib, who are hosting the University of Michigan side for us. I'll give a shout out to Dr. Joe Silvestri as well. I remember you from your medical student days. It's great to see you representing your program. I'm going to try to keep it brief because I want our residents to run the show. My goal is to give you a quick take 5, as University of Michigan likes to call it, which is a pithy highlight of what I see as some of the top 5 things that distinguish us as a program. So here we go. Take 5 from me. Number 1, mentorship. This is something that residents who have graduated have repeatedly told me that mentorship is truly one of our program's big strengths. We have a large group of faculty, about 50 physiatrist physician faculty, and more when we count psychologists and colleagues in adjacent fields who work with us closely. And the faculty are very interested in building relationships with the residents and investing in their success. I send a mentorship survey each spring, get a sense of what people's interests are and what their strengths are as a mentor, what areas they'd like to mentor, anything from fellowship applications to how to be a parent during residency. And every year we get far more responses of faculty who want to mentor than we have residents who are able to absorb a mentor. So there's a lot of interest. And so in addition to every PGY2 getting a longitudinal mentor, there are also a lot of faculty available ad hoc to mentor for specific things. Which makes the mentorship very dynamic and on point for meeting people where they are when they need it. Faculty overall are very deeply involved in both the community here at Michigan as well as more broadly, national landscape. We actively teach at AAPM&R, at AAP, and many of the subspecialty societies. And so when you get assigned a mentor, when you just seek mentorship from someone in a subspecialty field, that means that person will get you opportunities potentially for presenting a poster, for working through an interesting case report, for getting out there and actually doing adaptive sports and coaching, if those are your interest areas. I think mentorship is one of the things that I'd highlight as a strength of our program. And I'll share with you in the chat a link to one subset area of our website that highlights some of the pages labeled media. It highlights a lot of what our faculty are doing in the community, both academically and volunteerism. And they're all opportunities that residents can access quite easily. Number 2, sense of value and belonging. That's something I'm proud of. I believe with our program, there's great potential to carve your own path and have impact however that's defined to you. Excellence and impact are valued very broadly here. People can go down the research rabbit hole. We had someone publish 7 papers related to opioid and issues with addiction, and he went on to pursue an addiction fellowship. We've had people who venture deeply into adaptive sports. We had one person invite a full table of athletes, adaptive athletes, to his graduation. We've had someone apply with a team of people and get a $20,000 grant from the Ann Arbor Community Center that will help people with disability in the community. So those are just a few examples. There are very broad-ranging ways that one can have an impact out there that's supported by one's colleagues and faculty here. Number 3, carving your unique path. That means flexibility. Every resident who comes to the program has a very tailored and unique path. That's in part because we encourage exploration of a wide variety of electives and selectives that are truly tailored to the residents' interests. We have overall approximately 6 flexible months. There are 2 months that we call Jeopardy. You become the backup person if someone calls off ill or needs coverage for away time while they're on an inpatient rotation. But on all the days that you're not pulled from Jeopardy, you can actually use that as a clinical elective. In addition to the 2 Jeopardy months, there are 3 months that we call a blend of elective and selective. And then there are 6 weeks of carvable research where you can carve blocks of time during certain outpatient rotations to dedicate to a research project. But with that amount of time, what that means is every resident in our program can have a vastly different experience. Someone with a PEDS PM&R interest can have almost 5 months of additional PEDS if wanted, in addition to what we have at base. Conversely, the same thing applies for the fluoro suite and spine injections and the like. Number 4, leadership model. We developed and use an educational leadership model that empowers subspecialty faculty to innovate and lead in their areas. So specifically, we have an educational faculty leadership committee made up of 9 individuals with a passion for teaching in their clinical areas, as well as the clinical expertise. So that means whether it's spinal cord injury medicine or musculoskeletal medicine, the way your curriculum is designed, both didactic and in the clinic, is developed by not me, but a subspecialty expert who loves teaching in that area. So each rotation and didactic block is uniquely built by people with that vision. And the last one, number 5, in my opinion, the most important one, is our residents. Residents here, I've found them over the years to be consistently energetic, passionate, and caring. We take fantastic care of our patients and of each other. They are diverse in background, in prior experiences, and in interests, both within and beyond PM&R. We're not perfect, and I always hope that people will speak up when we want to make change. That's something I really value as a program director, and I'm grateful to have had very consistently groups of residents who are honest and candid and well-intentioned, and will keep doing that, speaking up and helping us get better. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton and let our residents run the show. I'm going to encourage people to feel free to put things in the chat as we, Cher read my mind. Go ahead and put things in the chat along the way. There are 4 of us on the call here, so we can answer questions in the chat while someone else is talking and help you get the most out of this short visit. All right, take it away, guys.
Thanks, Dr. Hearn. So just some basics. We'll fly through this because at this point, everything sounds about the same. So we'll make sure at the end to give you a way to find all this information so you can take a look later. But basically, we have 6 residency positions. It's an advanced program. But new this year is actually, we do have a partnership with Trinity Health for transitional years. So this is brand new this year for the application cycle. But a local hospital is, which many of our residents have gone through, has 3 specific spots saved for U of M residents who are going into PM&R. And they could still have more than that match into those programs so that they're close. And we know that this is a really great residency program for transitional year to get a good, well-rounded kind of medicine background. Otherwise, we have an 18-month faculty-led didactic cycle. So these are Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then our Thursdays are protected time. We kind of rotate through a set of topics, but every year we have something called Foundations, which is really important for our PGY2s to understand the basics of how the floor works, important things about musculoskeletal medicine, TBI, spinal cord, stroke. And then our musculoskeletal didactic rotation comes every year as well. We do have an at-home call system, and then new over the last few years is we do have a post-call fatigue policy, which I'm really proud of our program of having to really kind of put a spotlight on resident wellness, that if you're too tired to be working, it's not a safe situation, and we have things kind of backed up into our system and protocols so that we're protecting residents. We have really strong mentorship, which Dr. Hearn has mentioned, both between classes. Every PGY2 is set up with a 3 and a 4. And then you have a clinical and research mentors. And then we get excellent procedural training, ultrasound guided injections, fluoroscopy, as well as Botox, EMG, and baclofen pumps. And then, we're 11th in the nation for US News and World Report for best hospitals. And we have a level 1 trauma, adult and pediatric burn center, transplant center, stroke center, and we have a lot of different ICUs. So we see the whole gamut of what there is in PM&R. Leadership, this is just a quick slide. We have, our leadership is great right now. We really love Dr. Hearn. We have Dr. Wernemont, who's actually part of our program a few years ago. And then we love Anna, our administrator, who's really a proponent of resident wellness and has our back and is our go-to person. And then just some pictures. We have my class, I overrepresented us. We have 2 pictures here. And then we have our new class here we just welcomed, and then our PGY4 class, as well as one of my co-residents. They're going all over the place, really interested. We have palliative care, sports medicine, pain, critical care, as well as general PM&R. So really whatever you want to do here at U of M, you can get those opportunities and go where you want. My class, we are still kind of deciding, but we've got some general medicine, general PM&R and critical care and pediatrics and to be determined. So we will see. We have lots of fun. So at the top, we have our soccer team. So they meet weekly and play. Actually, there was just a game this evening. And even if you don't play, I know one of my co-residents was kind of the soccer mom today and brought snacks. So it's a really great way to kind of have community. I think this weekend too, we started a brunch and basketball kind of thing. So I'm hoping that'll keep going. And here at the bottom, we had a resident appreciation day where we got to go fouling, which is football, bowling. We did go-karts, and then we did axe throwing. And it was a really, really great way to kind of blow off steam and have a good time together. You can see in this picture way in the distance, there's our university hospital, but we have 2 main locations. So we have the main university, which is where we do our consult months, as well as basically our main floor, which is 6A, which is mostly our cancer and medically complex, as well as our cord floor. And then we actually knew this with my year was Chelsea inpatient rehab. So we are paired with Trinity Health in this, and most of our patients here are a little bit more bread and butter stroke, TBI, but having both of these locations has been really nice to kind of see a difference between university medicine, which is more complex, as well as a little bit more of the community medicine. And we'll move on to have Jim talk a little bit about our rotations.
All righty, thank you, Alyssa. Good evening, everyone. As Alyssa said, I'm Jim. I'm one of the current PGY4s. So this is just a quick look at our inpatient clinical rotation set up with 2 months of peds, 2 months of spinal cord injury, 2 months of TBI. That's mainly at Chelsea Hospital that Alyssa was just talking about. That's one of our new and really well-liked experiences. And then neuro, which happens both at the University Hospital and Chelsea Hospital. 2 months of cancer rehab, 4 months of consults, which is done or split between 2 different consult services, the general and the neuro consult services. And then 2 months at the University Hospital with medically complex patients, and St. Joe's Ann Arbor, which is the location that we have our new transitional year. We have 2 months of inpatient rehab there to get more of another community hospital feel of PM&R. And then at the bottom here, we have the breakdown of call. Usually it averages out to about 61 total home call days, and very front loaded towards PGY2, which makes PGY3 a little bit easier, and PGY4, you're mainly a call buddy, as Alyssa kind of talked about with the kind of peer mentorship program that we have set up. Next up, we have our outpatient clinical rotations. So we have 4 months of VA, 2 as a junior and 2 as a senior. There's always a junior and senior on at once. 3 months of EMG, which we're very strong at typically. 2 months of O&P, which is both outpatient and consults. 2 months of MSK, 2 months of Jeopardy, where it's basically an elective where you can choose your day rotations, but you're the first call should somebody have to call out or needs coverage type of thing. Next, we have subspecialty selective. Subspecialty selective and elective, which we can kind of talk about together. They're both basically elective times where you can talk or you can figure out and explore different interests that you have. And there are many different ways that we've used those times in the past. We have 6 weeks of research that can be used during any elective time that are usually broken up into 1 or 2 week blocks at a time in the PGY 2 and 3 year. 1 month of procedures in your senior year where you can bulk up on any procedures that you may be lacking on or get more experience in ones that you think you might use in your day-to-day work life thereafter. Subspecialty is one where the rotations are kind of laid out for you to get a greater understanding of the outpatient experience that you could have as an attending in PM&R. 2 months of spine and point of care ultrasound, which is a strength of our program as well. We have a didactic series along with 2 weeks in your PGY 3 year and then 2 more weeks that are in your PGY 4 year as well. And then continuity clinic is a half day per week. It shifts between different attendings. And these are patients that you follow for a number of different reasons in your continuity clinic. And you still staff with an attending, but you really have control over those patients and the management they're in. Extracurriculars, there's a lot of them. One that's very strong is our adaptive sports coverage. We actually just had one of our residents go with the VA wheelchair games to Texas. That was a pretty spectacular experience. We can do sideline coverage, healthcare administration scholars program, which one of our current residents just got accepted into, and then the list goes on. This is there's really anything under the sun for our residents here. If they choose that they want it, it's usually available. And last up, research is a very heavily weighted thing at our program. We have 2 specific research days. One is mainly attending research, and one is resident research, where you project, or you, as a PGY 3 and 4, you present on research that you have done up to that point to all the different faculty as well. We have very strong research mentorship that is in addition to the research, or in addition to the mentorship that was discussed earlier. And everybody really helps kind of propel you ahead with the research that you're doing. And we have different conference days that are allotted to the different class years, 3 in your first 2 years here, and 1 as a 4 with conference money if you are presenting, or for PM&R as a senior. And with that, I will hand off to Cher.
Thanks, Jim. So being at the University of Michigan really is a blessing. We are one of the few programs where we have a union as residents, and the union really advocates on our behalf. Not only do they do that by making sure we have a competitive salary, we're paid at the 90th percentile of residents. We also get a 10% lump sum payment. So every November you get an extra check. It's just added on to your usual salary, and it's really to encourage saving and financial literacy in planning for retirement. But you get an extra 10% of your check just added on your salary. I mean, that check is essentially doubled. You get holiday pay, 20 vacation days, which is really standard Monday through Friday days, 28 days if you count weekends. Preventative care days, I think you get 8 hours of that to be taken as 2 half days and a cell phone stipend, $50 every month, just because. They also host different parties and costume competitions. And if anyone knows who I am in this picture, you get extra points. Actually won second place in the contest for that. Next slide. Fellowships galore. The University of Michigan, like we said, as a health system, is one of the biggest GMEs. We have an innumerable amount of fellowship opportunities, from cancer rehab, spinal cord injury, interventional spine, and pediatric rehab is all PM&R. And then there are other opportunities as well. If you want to go more into neurosport, sports medicine, pain from an anesthesia perspective, those are all options as well. Next slide. And then our recent alumni, like we said, you'll be set up to go wherever and to do whatever you would like to do. Our recent graduates, we had 2 who matched into sports medicine fellowships. One's doing private practice in Toledo, and then Dr. Reed's doing a brain injury fellowship at Baylor. And also Dr. Shaw was our past chief. She's doing a pediatric fellowship at Seattle Children's. Ann Arbor is an amazing city. And it's really centrally located. If we do the Michigan thing, I'm from Louisiana, so I learned this, but we're down here with the Michigan hand. All 4 seasons, just like Toledo, there's a lot of overlap for that. It's actually one of the most, if not the most educated city. So you get a lot of different perspectives from everyone. Everyone's friendly. There's outdoor activities. You can go to Toronto, Chicago, Pittsburgh. They're all about 4.5 hours away. The Upper Peninsula has a beautiful coast, trails outside, biking, tubing. Just this weekend, we played basketball. We got someone who got it right. It is Canary from Hunter x Hunter. You win. Yeah, you can do anything outside, inside. The Detroit sports are awesome. And I'm sure you guys have gotten a wave of what we can do from where we are located. We're in between Detroit and Toledo. So everything they said, plus Ann Arbor.
Heads up, we have about 1 minute left.
Okay, well, perfect. We're ending. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Send us questions there. It's the same handle, UMich PM&R. Here's our contact information. We're happy to mentor from any perspective. If you're not just coming here, if you need some insight, I'm happy to provide it as well. I'm Sheris on there, as you can see. But we have a little bit of time for questions if anyone has any.
That's okay. We know it's the end of the night. Your guys' brains are probably scrambled by now. But definitely reach out to us on any of those emails, and we'd be glad to answer any questions about the program. This is just a snapshot of which is so much more complex and so much more information on. So we appreciate you coming out today and listening about our program.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for presenting. And thank you to everybody for attending tonight. Love the amazing turnout and the interest in PM&R residencies. And then just a friendly reminder, our next virtual residency fair is on the 21st, so this upcoming Thursday, and it'll be 4 different programs from kind of the more East Coast regions. So be sure to join us for that. But otherwise, have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much.